Well, the National Novel Writing Month NaNoWriMo website is nuked. It's gone. This all started over the last couple of years because of an AI controversy. Now, this organization had its troubles. They went full tilt left-wing activism. They went full tilt covering up for some weird grooming operations going on with their NaNoWriMo teen groups. And now they finally shut down, and they did a video with some lady, of course. It was a big cope video, assigning blame elsewhere, being like, this is such a great thing our organization did. It was really, really hard for us to survive on funding, even though like they were raking in hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. It was like, wow. And it's crazy. It's crazy that government grants prop this kind of thing up, which is literally just a website like to connect with other writers, to talk about like, hey, I've got 10,000 words written today. The other one goes, oh, I did 2,000 words today. Congrats. And kind of encourage each other. Now, that idea is pretty good, and there's other groups doing this in smaller scales now. But this was the largest one, and it went very, very crazy for a long, long time. I actually kind of started my career with this before it went off the rails as an organization. So it's kind of sad in some ways. It's kind of interesting in some ways. And it's interesting that it's artificial intelligence that killed it and not all these other things. Let's get into kind of the history of National Novel Writing Month, NaNoWriMo, what happened and where it's going in just a moment. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Join us here as we talk about all things in writing and, of course, science fiction and fantasy. This is your real fantasy news, like I said. And this book right here, oh gosh, I got the bestseller again. This happens a lot. For Stephen Country actually was my NaNoWriMo first creation. I wrote this back in 2013, 2014. I can't remember what year. And finally came out in 2017. And this was something I did during the National Novel Writing Month. It was the first full success I had. And I had, one every couple of years. Sometimes once I got into writing as a career, my writing schedule didn't line up with starting a new book right as as November hit. But I tried to as best I could. And so this was it. It's an Airship Adventure. It's 6 books right now. It's available on ebook, print, and audio. If you like airships, swashbuckling adventure, good fantasy, it's clean fantasy. Everybody of all ages can read. Check it out. It's in the description below. Really appreciate you guys for supporting. Of course, doing independent art is always, a challenge, and we do need people to read over and over and over again. That's what we're trying to do here as a channel, is try to get people to read independent works away from this corporate mainstream environment and the like, because we're doing it better, to be honest. So thank you guys so much, and thank you for all the nice words that I get in email all the time about my books. I really appreciate you. This is in the description below. So is my newsletter if you want to get some free books from me. Thanks so much, and let's get into this news. So yes, you go to NaNoWriMo. This site cannot be reached. It's gone. The whole website got taken down overnight. It's a surprise. And there's a NaNoWriMo subreddit, of course, and they are surprised by it as well, and of course are reacting to it. So it's the end of an era. What a freaking waste, said here. A huge, passionate, vibrant community founded on conquering the impossible, brought down by gross mismanagement and refusal to listen to the community that gave it life. Now, this is a warning, in a way, to everybody, that you got to get away from corporate-driven properties, government-funded driven properties. You have to build your own communities that are away from this. And, this is another thing. We're on YouTube right now. It's very much controlled by an algorithm. You might see this because you're in a book talk sort of thing, or in a writing sort of thing where they silo you into on the suggestions page and whatnot. And that's what you'll see, but you might not ever see this channel again. So I always tell people, get on the newsletter, join the Discord, join our community, and make sure that we're in spots that it's not algorithm dominated, because you never know. Things could shut down. We can run our own NaNoWriMo if you guys want. I'll do it. Let me know. So yes, the communities all scatter and then don't end up having anything because of this. Now, what's interesting is the book it just got taken down. So everybody's got their progress pages, their book pages, their forums that they were communicating with people on, all gone, right? And they don't get to see it ever again, right? So sad about this for a long time. It's definitely hitting home today, especially seeing the posts of people freaking out about losing their site data, since NaNoWriMo never officially announced the shutdown of official channels to warn them. We meant nothing to them, even in the end. Good riddance. And that's the truth. Unfortunately, this organization was built in Berkeley, California. It was built by a bunch of blue-haired weirdo leftists who, at first, it's a good idea. No good ideas, last without grifting, really. And so at some point it becomes a marketing tool, and it becomes a big thing that they can use for their own clout, use for their own getting government grants and the like. And they got huge government grants over the years. Every year they got government grants. They said that they took over $100,000 in COVID loans. Like, why does a website that tracks whether people write books or not, that's all volunteer-based, need $100,000 plus COVID loan? What's going on here? They produced merch. They sold stuff. Like I said, it became this like board, this group that was using this like sort of power to like try to influence the industry. And if you looked at the way that they kind of built things over the years, they'd prop other authors up. They would give authors like spotlights to talk about NaNoWriMo and, you know, have big people. Even Brandon Sanderson was involved in it at some point. And it became a big marketing tool, juggernaut of the publishing industry at this point. And so that those sort of clout structures and fiefdoms do screw things up, especially when there's money involved. And, you know, the writers who were there did just get left behind, didn't get cared about, right? So if you're confused, nanoscandal.com. Oh, good. There's a good, I'll check that out. It's a good overview of how things crashed and burned so hard. Well, I've talked about it as well. They actually ventured into left-wing activism in the late 2018, 2019, 2020. Like usual, it was a Trump derangement, made everybody go. They started sending out emails about abortion and like trying to fund pro-abortion sort of setups. And it was like, what does this have to do with writing books? And so they started becoming a political activist organization at that juncture. Volunteers were forced into these like training seminars and things like that, where they actually had to, I was talking with some higher up volunteers within the organization, like management within the organization, and they would be forced to watch these diversity, equity, and inclusion videos and all. It was a weird political indoctrination camp. And this seems to be the case with like everything that was getting government grants. I mean, we kind of see that there was a lot of waste that was sent out from our federal government, paid for by our tax dollars, to just indoctrinate people into politics and using different organizations, using different things in the culture to do that. It's really insidious just how far and how deep this went. And NaNoWriMo was a big part of this, right? And so they did that. Of course, with COVID, they claimed they had struggles and all that stuff. But again, I don't understand how they would have struggles, because they were getting a free COVID loan. They were getting merch sales and the like anyway. And so this is an all-in online thing. So how would they have struggles with COVID? It doesn't make any sense. And a lot of people came in hard during COVID. I think more people were writing in NaNoWriMo because they had nothing else to do in 2020, right? And so they had that, but then they had their weird like child grooming scandal. And this came in 2023. So they ignored reports about one of their mods funneling teen minors from their sites to an ABDL fetish site, only banning the mod 6 months later when users who uncovered the issue got frustrated and went public. So and this is, remember how the quirky write a book in 30 days NaNoWriMo program allegedly ignored reports? It wasn't allegedly, it turned out. Like, I mean, when they did their video, they kind of apologized in a way for it and were like, we didn't know about this, and didn't investigate it, even though it involved one of their mods. Crazy. So then, of course, a new draft ML bans any volunteer from revealing any internal info to users. So this is their confidentiality agreement that they were trying to, of course, because there's money on the line now, right? And so they just didn't want the volunteers to go out there, and you'd have to send have a NDA, right, in order to not talk about things, because they don't want the bad PR to get out there. It's very weird. The only reason anyone found out about the alleged abuse and exploitation of minors, both on the main site and their teen site, was because users collaborated with internal info. Then they're trying to make sure no one can try to hold them accountable ever again. Very crazy, right? Now, that didn't sink them. It didn't stop them. That was not the problem. This statement is what did, because last year, authors panicked over AI. Now, as you know, if you've watched my videos, like, I'm not panicked over AI at all. I don't have a problem with it. And the reason is because it's not a threat. It's only a threat to people who are, not. It seems like the people who actually don't make money in the business are the ones that are flipping out about it much more. Every big author I talk to, and I talk to a lot who make, when I talk big, I mean making over $100,000 a year on their books. At that point, they're not concerned about it whatsoever, right? But these people always are. The people who are like not able to make professional livings at it are like, AI is going to take jobs. It's like, well, you don't even have a job to begin with. Like, you've got a hobby. Why do you care? So they actually tried to be, this is funny, they were trying to be diverse and inclusive. This is it. We recognize harm has been done to writer and creative communities. No, it hasn't. Hand of bad actors in the generative AI space, and that ethical questions and risks, blah, blah, blah. Main mission is to provide structure, community, encouragement to help people use their voices, achieve creative goals, and build new worlds. So this is it. We made mistakes in our initial expression of this position. We speak to those mistakes in this letter to our community. We've simplified the language of our page to reflect our core position. Now, this made all the weird leftists they were courting turn on them, because what they did was actually be like, okay, well, we're not going to ban AI because there's disabled people who can't really write novels, and we want them to really be included too. That was their original statement that got them into trouble. And it's like they went so far into like the disability that the writers panicked because of AI, and then it went ballistic. We saw the same thing happening with the World Science Fiction Convention recently. They used ChatGPT to like vet some of their panelists and the like, and of course they're getting destroyed and shut down. This AI thing, like the fledgling author community is really, really up in arms about, to the point where it's like they're going to shut people down. It's really a crazy, interesting sociological thing to look at on this level. So they had a second statement on this, and eventually it shut down. 6 years of struggling to sustain ourselves financially. We'll begin the process of shutting down. This was in April. Explain how we got here is both simple and complex. Funding woes. It's like it's like, what? Why do you need funding to run a website? It's not that hard. And of course, this lady puts this video up on the state of NaNoWriMo, and of course made it all about herself and whatever through this whole thing. It was very cringy to watch. It's like a 30-minute video showing all these like breakdowns of things and talking about the moderation and the like. Very, very weird. And now the site's down. So glad I screenshotted my NaNoWriMo history beforehand, because of course they didn't announce that the site was going down. Of course, another way they just don't care about what's going on. I keep expecting to see something from them that isn't a giant middle finger. I keep being disappointed. I think it's kind of crazy that they never even edited the site to be like, we're shutting down soon. Of course, it's really wild. I've lost track of them, but they were the first good app companies that went sketchy. And it did go sketchy. This goes to show when you got like money involved in this stuff, corruption ensues and it goes crazy. All right, leave a comment down below with what you think about this. Please hit the like and subscribe button. It is the end of an era, but like I said, the lesson here is to be part of a community that's not going to shut down, and we got to do that by a couple things: mailing list, Discord. Just stay in touch on non-algorithm platforms, and check out my books, guys. If you want to check things out here, this is a great place to start. Really appreciate you supporting the channel. It's in the description below. Ebook, print, and audio. Thanks for being here.